You ever notice how some memories don't fade, no matter how much time passes? It's like they're stitched into your soul. Some mornings when the house is quiet and the tea is just right, I find myself drifting back. Not out of sadness, but out of gratitude. I'm Colonel Jack Whitmore, retired, but never really out of uniform. Not in here, at least, taps his heart. I joined the army when I was 21, fresh out of university, sharp haircut, pressed shirt, dreams bigger than my chest could hold. I remember my mother's eyes, pride mixed with worry, as she packed my bag with more snacks than socks. My father didn't say much, just placed his old watch in my palm and nodded. That nod, I understood it only years later. It wasn't just approval. It was a farewell to boyhood. The first few weeks at the academy were hell wrapped in discipline. Waking up at 4:30, running till your lungs screamed, push-ups until your arms felt like jelly. But there was something in that madness, a brotherhood forming. We were all strangers, molded by the same fire. That fire didn't just build soldiers. It built character. I met Luke there, Luke Carter, a smooth talker from London who could flirt, fight and cook like a dream. Then there was Thomas, quiet lad from Cornwall who could dismantle and reassemble a rifle faster than most people, could blink, and my bunkmate, Henry, stubborn, sarcastic, and the bravest man I ever knew. We trained hard, bled harder, and laughed hardest. There's a kind of laughter that only comes when you've gone through hell together. Like that time we were at a joint exercise with a foreign unit. Language barriers, cultural clashes, you name it. Somehow, Henry convinced the entire barracks to prank the visiting officers by replacing all their toothpaste with chili paste. We spent the next 3 days doing extra drills, but it was worth it. The look on those faces, priceless. After commissioning, I was posted to some of the most remote corners of the country. The highlands were my first real taste of nature's wrath. Freezing winds, howling through the valleys, snow that looked like heaven, but felt like hell. You learn fast in places like that. You learn to respect the land. You learn that even silence has a sound. And you learn that even hardened men cry, sometimes from the cold, sometimes from the loss of a comrade, and sometimes from reading a letter sent from home. Letters. God, how we lived for those. Back then, we didn't have video calls or instant messaging. When a letter arrived, it was like a voice carried across time. I still have a few. One from my younger sister telling me how she topped her class. Another from my father, written just weeks before he passed. I read them sometimes, late at night when the world is asleep and the stars remind me of faces I used to know. War? Yes, I've seen it. I've smelled it, heard it, felt it in my bones. The Ridge Offensive. That was the real test. I was a captain then, young, foolishly brave, leading a platoon up a slope that looked like the edge of the world. We lost good men that night. The air was thick with smoke, the rocks stained with stories that would never be told. I remember dragging Luke, bleeding and half-conscious, behind a boulder. He looked up at me and said, Jack, if I die, make sure they don't put that picture on the newspaper. Use the one where I look handsome. Even then, Humor lived. He survived, by the way. Lost a leg, but not his spirit. Now he teaches strategy at the academy and still jokes about how I cried when I thought he was dying. He's right. I did. You see, people think soldiers are made of steel, but no. We're flesh, blood, and heart. A lot of heart. We just learn to carry pain differently. After the war, I climbed the ranks. Lieutenant, Major, Lieutenant Colonel, and finally Colonel. Medals came and went, ribbons, plaques, handshakes from important people, but the real honors were quieter. The handshake from a private who trusted you with his life, the tear in a widow's eye when you promised to look after her child, the silence in a barrack after the news of a fallen comrade. Retirement came, quietly. No grand farewell. Just a slow unwinding. I moved into this house and the one you're sitting in now, planted roses in the backyard, and learned to brew a half-decent cup of tea. Took me months to stop waking at dawn. Even longer. To stop expecting orders from a radio that no longer buzzed. But let me tell you something. I'm not sad. Not bitter. The Army gave me a life of purpose. It gave me friends who were more than brothers, enemies who taught me respect, and memories I'll carry to my grave. Sometimes the neighborhood kids come by asking for stories. I tell them the tame ones, about the monkey that stole our boots in the base camp, or the time our truck broke down and we hitched a ride on a wedding procession. I leave out the gore. Let them keep their innocence a while longer. My grandson asked me once, "Granddad, were you ever scared?" I smiled and told him the truth. Every day, but I did it anyway. That's courage, you know. Not the absence of fear, but walking into it with your head held high and your heart steady. Now I spend my days gardening, teaching the odd class at the military school nearby and watching the world change. And it's changing fast. But some things, some values, they never go out of style. Honor, loyalty, brotherhood, sacrifice. And yes, I still keep my old boots by the door. Not because I'll wear them again, but because they remind me of every step I took, every friend I lost, every moment I lived fully. My wife rolls her eyes every time she sees them, calls them dust collectors. I tell her, no, they're memory holders. So, if you ever find yourself feeling lost, wondering what it's all for, sit with an old soldier. We may not have all the answers, but we've walked paths that'll help you find your own, and hey,